Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this discussion about my past month working with the Gentle Tarot. Oh my goodness. So before I dive into the deck, can we just have a moment for this cloth, please? Like, look at how beautiful this is. This is like a sea goddess. You can see she's a mermaid. It all runs down the left-hand side there. And it says, close your eyes and dream a dream and seek the courage to make it real. Reflect on the past, envision the future, and embrace today with an open heart and soul. Isn't that beautiful? And look at the back. Sorry, this was like a really neat find for me. I found this fabric. It was from a line that had been released that Peggy and I somehow just didn't find out about. And then we found out about it. Well, I found out about it and I literally used her credit card to buy some of this fabric. I was like, even if you never ever do anything else with it, I need this reading cloth. And of course, there was more that happened with it because this is actually the 2-pocket bag I've been using for the whole month. And it's the same exact line. And check it out. It's the same sea goddess here, like mermaid goddess. Isn't that beautiful? I'm just gushing because I'm so in love with this. See, this is how I do my readings during the week, actually, is I store my decks in the big pocket here. I kind of don't really use the second pocket unless I need it, but I store my 2 decks side by side like this way. I'll show you. So I store them that way. And then the other deck beside it, like that. Tuck all my cords in, wrap the whole thing up, and then when I'm ready to do my readings, I can just pull my decks out and lay my reading out. Okay, so I'm sharing because I'm really excited about this particular fabric, but let's get into my discussion of working with the Gentle Tarot for the past month. Now, I was in a space where I really needed this deck, you guys. The Gentle Tarot, I will link my full walkthrough up in the cards for you, but I want to talk about my experience with this deck because it was really profound, and this is a deck that has become a fast favorite for a number of reasons. If you haven't seen the Gentle Tarot yet, this was created by Marisa Rice Aparicia Tovar. I'm probably completely slaughtering your name. She goes by Mari or Mari in the Sky, and it's just an absolutely breathtaking deck. And it has been giving me some killer readings throughout the month of June. So I'm really excited to share with you how I worked with this deck and what I paired with it, because I used 2 different pairings throughout this month, and they were perfection. Although the latter pairing has just knocked my socks off. So this is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous deck. And it's funny because it's so much more than meets the eye. I will say that in my personal practice, I love working with the guidebook. And so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the guidebook and my experience with it, because it really was a huge part of my experience with this deck. So let's just take a sample card so you can get a feel for how the guidebook reads, because I'm going to be talking about this a lot. So here we have the Harvest of Wands. Now, the court cards are Root, Seed, Flower, Harvest. So root being sort of that youthful, that seed energy, the page energy, I guess you could think of it that way. The seed is that page energy. The root is like the knight's energy, the flower, the queen's energy, and the harvest, the king's. And those associations for the court cards worked so well for me. It takes us away from sort of the ruling class. It takes us away from at least in my opinion, it took me away from this sort of very people-y way of looking at the court cards and into an energetic way of looking at the court cards as like a stage and a process. And oh my goodness, it like completely blew my mind the way that it worked so well. Because of course our pages are a very seed-like energy. Our knights are digging roots and trying to expand and grow and become more. And our queens are very flowery. And our kings are definitely the harvesters. And it just worked so well. Anyways, okay, I'm gushing before I said I was going to read the guidebook, and then this happened. Mari's voice in the guidebook is unlike any other guidebook voice I've ever read in the best possible way. The suits here are changed. So we have wands for the wands. We have thunder instead of swords. I believe stones instead of pentacles, and I think cups are still cups. Yeah, cups and wands are still the same. But let's get into this Harvest of Wands. Sorry, I'm very easily distracted. Also, I apologize for the background noise, but we're in the middle of a massive heat wave that is record-breaking. Like, we're talking hundreds of years record-breaking at the moment. So I'm not turning off the AC, which is currently in the same room as me. So, sorry. Anyways, the Harvest of Wands. Okay, so here's what it says about the harvest. Remember, this is like the King of Wands. The time is now. I am ready to lead with courage and force. This Alaskan wolf brings us the positive, active, fire energy of the Wands suit, manifest in the outward dedication of a monarch. This card reminds us of the creative, inspiring, charismatic, and bold elements needed to push forth into newness. This card begs us to relinquish the old ways in order to gather enthusiasm towards something new and fresh. Harvest is the last phase of the journey. We go from seed to root to flower, and at the harvest we have a confident, courageous leader who has been through the other stages of growth. She is ready to share the lessons she has learned and give her gifts to those around her. Lead yourself into a bold, fearless chapter. You will inspire those around you. She is not hesitant to howl out with passion, to shake old ways down from the shelves and build a new way. The way that it's written is so empowering and healing. I almost don't even know where to begin. Every single guidebook entry is like this. You feel like you've just had advice from a really good, caring friend, and this has been a joy to work with, to the point that it's become so comfortable and nurturing that I'm hesitant to move on to a different deck next month, or in the month that you're watching this. I should say I've already decided to move on, but I'm filming this right at the end of June, and I will be moving on to a new deck in July. But working with this for a month has just been an incredible experience, and it was exactly the deck I needed when I needed it. So let's talk for a moment about pairings. So in the first week and a half or so of the month, I paired this deck, and I'll zoom us in a bit, with the Seeds of Shakti Oracle. Partly because these were both, the Seeds of Shakti had been one I've been waiting on for a very, very long time. It was out of print for a while. It came back into print. I will also share with you guys the walkthrough of the Seeds of Shakti Oracle that I did, so that you can see all the cards. But these worked really well together. I really felt like they did. So for example, here we have the Nine of Cups, and the companion card here is Muladhara, breathe in and anchor the soul. Oops. The High Priestess and the Dark Moon. I mean, I didn't do that on purpose. The Walk with the Ancestors, it says. Like, how beautiful of a pairing is that? These are both matte, so they're hard to do with just one hand. The Root of Thunder and Dance to the Beat of Sacred Rhythms with the drum. The Flower of Stones. Look at this delightful beaver. Or bear. It's a bear. I always want to see a beaver here. I don't know why, but this is a bear. And the Waxing Moon. Lean into what needs to blossom. Hello, flower. What needs to blossom? They worked so well together. Here we have the Three of Cups with Buddha. Without acknowledging the shadows, enlightenment is elusive. The Nine of Thunder and the Singing Bowl. Restore energetic flow with sacred sound. These worked really, really well together. I will say this was a great way for me to dip my toes into working with the Gentle Tarot, because how I worked with this is how I've been working with my Oracle and Tarot together for a while now. And let me just reiterate that system for you if you haven't encountered it in my videos before. So what I like to do is I like to pull an Oracle card. So I'll focus on, okay, what is the energy of today? What do I need to focus on today? Something general like that, kind of like you would for a daily draw. Like, what do I need to know? What lesson do I need to learn? And I will pull... I'll usually cut first, and then I will pull a single Oracle card. So here I just pulled the Singing Bowl again. Restore energetic flow with sacred sound. And I'd be like, I think about this message for a bit. I might refer to the Seeds of Shakti guidebook, so let's do that together. And look up Singing Bowl. Sound is potent for healing. Your body is 2/3 water, thus sound waves affect you. The sound frequency a singing bowl emanates creates a specific vibration that passes through your body, releasing blockages and ultimately restoring your energetic flow. Hold space for yourself to connect with sacred sound. Introduce sound into your spiritual practice. Allow yourself to go into a deeper state of relaxation as you focus on sacred sound. So that feels like very much a practice card. So depending on the focus of my reading that day, I might actually just take this and set it aside as a practice to do and then draw a new card, because what I'm looking for, and some Oracle decks do this better than others, but what I'm really looking for with this first card is an energetic focus. So let's try another one. Okay, this is a good one. So Buddha. Without acknowledging the shadows, enlightenment is elusive. So this is telling me that I might be ignoring some of my shadows. So there's something that I need to acknowledge. So based on that first card, I would then form a question. Okay, so I would pull out my tarot deck and I would ask, what shadow needs to be acknowledged in this moment? Let's zoom us back out so I don't like smack your face with the cards here. What shadow currently needs to be acknowledged? And I'd shuffle however I'm going to shuffle, and I would cut and I would draw a card. Justice. So where is there inequity? Where is there a lack of acknowledging consequence? Maybe that's something I need to look at. And so then I would reflect on this card, maybe read the guide. Usually, with the Gentle Tarot, I've definitely been reading the guidebook. Read what the guidebook has to say. Consider actions and consequences, whatever the theme of this card is. Kind of sit with that for a minute, and based on that, form a follow-up question. So here I might say, which inequities need to be addressed in my life? And then I would draw another card. So let me just grab one. And we have the Root of Stone. So this is like the Knight of Pentacles. Oh, okay, so there's maybe a lack of work-life balance. We're not going to talk about how accurate this is and how much it is calling me out in this particular moment. I took on a lot of projects all at once. I definitely inundated myself a little bit. I am definitely dealing with the consequences of that, and I am working through it. It's fine. It's all good. It's been all happy, fun things, but like I just tried to do everything all at the same time, which was probably not the smartest, but we're getting there. We're figuring it out. Anyways, so this feels like a very effective reading for me. It's like I had my initial starting point, which prompted the question, which then prompted a follow-up question. And this is how I enjoy working with Tarot and Oracle together. Once I stumbled on this, I have been using Tarot and Oracle this way pretty much every day. It feels very organic. It feels like a conversation with the cards, and it's something I really enjoy. And the Seeds of Shakti definitely worked really well in this capacity. I felt like I was getting really great readings this way, and it was lovely. This is definitely a deck that I love. I feel like it speaks my speak. So this was a joy to work with, but I was definitely excited to pair something else with this by the time it had been about 7 to 10 days or so. So that's when I decided to pull out the, let's just completely go to a different spot in the deck here. That's when I decided to pull out my Reclaim Oracle, which I love this bag so much. So the creator of Reclaim sent me this adorable little patch, and Peggy literally sewed it onto my bag like a little, so it's kind of dangling there like a little suitcase. It says emotional baggage. It's so appropriate for this deck. I just can't, as are the colors of this bag. But enough gushing. I can't help it, you guys. We're really, really excited. Okay, so this deck has blown my ever-loving mind. I worked with this for like almost 3 weeks of June, or maybe even a little more than that. I pretty much, as soon as I stopped working with Seeds of Shakti with the Gentle Tarot, I started working with the Reclaim Tarot with the Gentle Tarot, and oh my gosh, this deck is incredible for the exact type of reading I was just describing. Again, the guidebook is so, I think, essential to mining the gold from this deck. And so working with these two guidebooks at the same time has been an incredible experience, to the point where I almost don't see myself pairing the Gentle Tarot with anything else, because it was just so powerful and beautiful. I'm sure that I will, but I just grew very attached. So just like with the Gentle Tarot, before I talk about working with these together, let me just pull a sample card here and we'll read from the guidebook. So here we have Attachment. Now again, I will link my full walkthrough of the Reclaim Oracle in the cards and in the description box down below for you, or in the card. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but it'll be linked. It'll be linked because this is probably one of my favorite oracles of all time at this point. So anyways, here's our Detachment card. Let's take a look at the guidebook. In the guidebook, at first glance, it's a little almost chaotic feeling. It's very like handwritten, but it makes it feel, at least to me, almost as if these were my notes, almost like my higher self is talking to me. I know that's not the case. I know these were written by the beautiful creator, but I feel like it's me almost talking to myself. And I'll explain what I mean. You'll hear it in the voice, I think. So here we have Attachment. So let's read the guidebook entry for Attachment. And it is alphabetical, so it's really easy to find the card that you need. So here's what it says about attachment. Attachment is rooted in the fear of loving everything I dare to love. It's merging with a feeling to the point of losing touch with my true identity. My things and I are bound so tightly that I can't tell them from me. My pain and I are bound even tighter. Losing it would be losing me. Like, hello? Like, I literally don't even have words. So I would pull a card like this and I would have so much to reflect on. In fact, I found myself in my journaling practice actually writing down sometimes this full entry, sometimes just quotes from it as part of my practice, because I would journal that and I would think about that and I would be like, oh my gosh, there's so many questions. So in this case, it's like, okay, well, so let's zoom us in a little bit. Okay, so attachment, I'm bound very tightly to something. What am I afraid to let go of? What am I binding myself so tightly to? And I'd pull out my Gentle Tarot. What am I bound too tightly to? What am I bound too tightly to that I could maybe loosen the grip of? And I would pull a card. The Harvest of Stones. The Harvest of Stones. So one could dive into that and go, okay, what is that? So then let's have the experience together. So I'm going to go into the guidebook from the Gentle Tarot and read what she has to say about the Harvest of Stones. Because this is what I want you to have the same experience I was having. So we've read about attachment. Now, what is it I need to let go of? Here's the Harvest of Stones. Musk ox mama, with your unfailing resolve, I see how gentle and steady you flourish at every turn. The Harvest of Stones is the most reliable of them all. There is no task too complex or too challenging for her steady hooves. I totally feel another call out coming. The energy of this card celebrates grounded action followed by undeniable success. She is smart, enterprising, resourceful, and supportive towards others. She helps balance situations. All of these qualities are embodied in one big, generous heart. If this card shows up for you, take a moment to gauge if you could use some of her energy in this moment. Does your step need an extra spark? Could you use a boost towards resourcefulness? What if you knew that triumph was imminent? Would you pick up the slack and be inspired by her dedication? If your world is full of steady resolve, check in and make sure you are making enough space for breaks. The Harvest of Stones tells of getting the job done, but she also asks that we weave balance and compassionate focus into our work. I knew it. I knew it. So I'm holding too tightly to my goals and the things I'm trying to accomplish, and I'm not always leaving enough space for breaks. That is a lesson I've been hearing a lot lately in my readings. It's definitely true in my life right now. And as much as all of the things that I do are things that fill my cup in so many ways, I haven't always been making enough time for play for myself. So that's something that I'm trying to be more mindful of as well. So that was really beautiful. So based on that, I'd be like, okay, how can I bring more balance into my work-life balance? How can I get into a place of more work-life balance? How can I embrace breaks? And so that would be a great follow-up question. And I'd go back to the Gentle Tarot. And and really working with really, really good guidebooks is such an excellent way to read for yourself with less bias. I think a lot of us are afraid to read for ourselves, or we feel like we're not going to read effectively for ourselves. But when you work with guidebooks like this, you do get the call outs. You do get these messages that you know exactly what they're saying to you. The Magician. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to read this one too, because I'm just super curious now if this is just, am I just reading for myself on camera? Is that what's happening right now? Pretty much. That's pretty much what's happening. Okay. Grounded and expansive from my place of power, I believe in myself. I am miracles manifesting. I know exactly what I want. I am focused and clear. This is a card of action. The power to create is at your fingertips. There is no divide between you and the support of all the elements: earth, fire, air, water. In the center of a cyclical sacred dance, you embrace your full potential. The essence of the magician's power comes from knowing our connection to the whole. Feel the wind on your skin. Float on water, root into earth. Watch your friend fire unfold in a dance. Feel that there are no boundaries. We are one. We are all cosmic sparks of miraculous inspiration. And I think this to me is a reminder that, like, I don't need to do it all right now, because it's all right there waiting for me. I can start to tackle things in my own timing. I don't have to be all things to all people. I can definitely pull back where I need to, get space, breathe, play. And I think that's the message I've been getting from readings like this. And I hope you can see just how stunningly beautifully these decks worked together. Artistically, would I have paired these? No, but they're both so nurturing and so expansive with their messages that they are just an absolute delight. So let's look at a few pairings just for the sake of seeing them. But honestly, this is an energetic pairing more than a visual one for me. So let's just zoom it in. So here we have Worthiness and the Lovers. Judgment and closure, and desire. Look at that too, like heeding the call, the snake, the transformation. Ugh. the Moon and insecurity, 8 of Wands and frustration. Like, look at that, the momentum, but then the frustration to not be able to move ahead. The Unseen and respect. Look at the boundaries here. Oh, so powerful, this deck. The Chariot and acceptance. The Emperor and joy. Look at this happy walrus and the joy card. They work great, right? The 10 of Cups and discouragement. The 2 of Cups and confusion. The 6 of Stones and security. The Star and hello? Do we see what's happening here? I get really excited when these kinds of synchronicities come up because I often lock myself into which deck will look good with which other deck and all that kind of thing. And what I found this month is that reaching for the decks that I just felt really called to reach for and just putting them together worked out really well for me. And I think sometimes it's easy to get in your own head about like which decks go with which other decks. And that's fine. But like this was so great because emotionally these decks provided me so much nurturing and so much growth opportunity. I found myself reconnecting to my journaling practice in a way, in my tarot journaling practice specifically, in a way that I hadn't in some time. I mean, I use this journal. I'll talk about it more in an update at some point, but I journal in this every day. I like take pictures of my spreads. I journal what they are saying. There's a page for every single day of the month, of the year in here. And there's been days where it's like I just not in the space for it. But since pairing the Gentle Tarot and the Reclaim Oracle together, I found myself journaling like a full page every single day. I would say that as far as indie decks go, oh my gosh, this one is such a gem. And again, this was one that I was totally flying under my radar. I was blessed to have an opportunity to review it. And when I did, it's like everything in me slowed down and understood exactly what this deck was telling me. It's really special, and I'm so grateful to have it. I'm grateful for the bodied inclusion and diversity within the deck. I really appreciate that. I'm grateful for the own voice of the creator of the deck, sharing her experiences through the lens. This is one of my favorite 8 of Cups ever. Pulling the broken pieces back together. It has so much to offer. Do you need this deck or any deck? No. No, you don't. But if you feel called to the artwork, oh my goodness. I just wanted to share what it was like. It's one thing to share with you guys my first impressions when I'm doing a walkthrough of a deck, and it's something else entirely when I've really spent dedicated time getting to know it, and that is something that I hope to continue to share with you on the channel over time, is come back to you when I've spent time with a deck and share my updated thoughts, share how it actually worked out for me. This deck had so many gentle, loving call-outs for me throughout the month of June, and it gave me so much food for thought and for growth. And throughout it all, the guidebook just seemed to hold my hand and like take me gently from process to process. I had 2 triggering events in the month of June. I'm totally okay, but I definitely had some moments where I was really overwhelmed emotionally and I didn't really know the right way through a situation or how to process it. And this deck gave me that exact kind of support that I needed, to the point where this would definitely be one that I would reach for if I was going through a specifically difficult time in my life. A triggering event for me is pretty normal. I do have those on occasion and semi-regularly, I would say. But having the tools to be able to navigate it and feel like I have some support throughout that experience, and to be able to sort of bring myself back into a place where I can communicate and take ownership of what it is that I'm experiencing and how I'm going to move forward, taking my power back essentially, is a really important part of my process whenever I do experience a triggering event. And so I really felt like this deck helped me do that. It kind of like held me accountable, but in this really loving, hugging kind of way that made me feel safe. And in that safety sort of gave me the little gentle nudge I needed to do the work I need to do, to hold myself accountable, to be responsible for my actions and my decisions. And I just felt like this deck was so beautifully good at that in this really like unexpected, unobtrusive kind of way. So I just wanted to share what it was like to work with it for a whole month. This was the only deck I used for myself for my own readings, and I had such a great time with it. I would have been lost without the book, and I definitely recommend taking time with the book, really getting to know it, because often that's part of what gives each deck its own voice to me, right? Like working with the cards and the artwork, yeah, that definitely affects the tone and how I interpret a deck, but sitting down with the guidebook and reading the way that it's written, when it's well written, when it really speaks in a way that resonates with you, oh my gosh, it just takes everything to a new level. It's like I have my own little pocket tarot reader in this system, and I loved it a lot. So I know I'm gushing. I loved the Reclaim Oracle just as much, and I did work with this for the majority of the month. So to follow up, I love this deck even harder than I loved it before. And just like the Gentle Tarot, I felt very safe and very held. And a lot of these cards are very confronting, but they're confronting in a way that is really nurturing and, again, empowering. And energetically, the feeling of these two decks was almost identical in that sense of being like held and protected and nurtured, but also like gently pushed to do the work. And I loved that about both of these. So yeah, these are both gems. I adore them both so, so much. And I really, really enjoyed working with them for an entire month. I hope that this gave you an idea of what it was like to really, really work with these decks. I don't know that I see myself using this deck with clients. I definitely see myself using the Reclaim Oracle with clients, but this just feels like it's talking just to me in a weird way. So we'll see. I don't know. I really like using tarot decks that I don't feel the need to pull the guidebook with. And while I could read this without the guidebook, it's so special with the guidebook that I'm a little stuck in that specific area. I think I'll probably save this just for me until such time as it feels like it's ready for working with other people. But in any case, I hope that this month with the Gentle Tarot gave you some useful insight into the deck and what it's like to work with it. As always, please do remember to click the like button if you enjoyed this video or you found value in it. If you are new, please do subscribe, hang out with me, and we will do more videos about tarot and witchy things and self-worth and more. If you haven't discovered it yet, I do now have a join button underneath where you can join and become a member of the Unicorn Fam, where we talk about more tarot stuff and some badass self-worth stuff and other things based on whatever level you decide to join. So check that out if you feel like you want even more of this sort of energy. Thank you again so much for joining me. Don't forget to click the little notification bell. And as always, it is my great pleasure to share this time with you. Thank you so much for sharing yours with me. May your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.